can't have that conversation on the air. We could, but
Good.
it's one of those conversations that wouldn't really affect me too much. It would affect me in some ways, but you personally, it would affect
Yes.
uh, very directly. So we're
It's
going to keep that
very
off air.
it's very limiting being a public school teacher and the things that I could say and talk about, but oh well.
Sure. Yeah, and if you went and did the massage therapy full time,
Mhm.
then
It
uh,
would be, yep.
yeah. Well, actually, you know what? Would it, or would that put you in a whole different mess? That could potentially,
And at this point, who knows?
yeah. It's like they would hear all these stories, like, huh, interesting.
Huh.
She's also a massage therapist, and then it would take them down a weird road. Like, is she really a massage therapist, or is this something else? It's a cover.
Right. It's funny. And like, so in my classes, like they're very, like my instructors are very, um, they have lots of talks with us about like, and this and something about like, this will, these new rules, I guess. I don't know. I don't know obviously anything about, I'm not even a massage therapist yet or whatever, but they have all these new rules and laws in place to protect against like sex trafficking or like to
Sure.
protect set or whatever. And so and for me, I'm like, that's like, I didn't even think about that. I'm like, huh? And then I'm like, but then later I'm like, oh yeah, well, I guess like all the jokes and stuff and all like the see whatever. So I'm like, I guess that makes sense. But I always thought it was a joke. But I don't know. Maybe there's stuff like, I don't know. I mean, I know things, whatever. We don't need to get into that. But it is a stigma. I don't care. I'm not offended. I've had many, many jokes made at me by my friends who like to roast me all the time. I don't care. It's fine. They're going to thank me when I'm giving them a bomb massage and I just help them feel a lot better. I'll be like, yep, keep making fun of.
You still gonna charge them though? You gotta charge them though, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yep. That's the way to do it. No, and
Double charge.
yeah, I'll be honest with you. When I heard you were doing massage therapy, jokes definitely came to my head, but I didn't say them. I've kept them all inside.
Yeah, you don't need to keep them inside. It's fine.
I think I I think I do. I think I do.
Not at all.
Eh,
Not
okay.
even even in my classes, people talk about it, and we're like, yeah, whatever, we don't care.
All right.
It's
And if we need to cut this, I'll cut this. But it's okay. If you're doing the massage therapy thing, right? And you're starting to take on clients, is there like a certain line like that would become weird? Like if, for example, like if a parent of one of your students came in, would that be a weird thing? Or would you be able to like mentally separate the two?
I don't know because I don't know what I want to. Well, okay, let's just assume that this is going to be like a spa setting. I don't even
Right.
know if I want to do that. I'm not sure what I want to do with this yet.
Well, that would be the
But
safest thing. But I was like, yeah. Once you start going
right.
like, hey, I'll meet you in your house, then it starts getting into a dicey territory.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, maybe initially that might be weird, but but it wouldn't be if nothing like they don't insinuate anything or like
No, no,
nothing.
I'm not taking it that would be a
Yeah.
completely different conversation because I hope that would be strange. I hope you would draw the line there.
Right. Well, like, and as a massage therapist, or they call themselves the body workers, there's all these different titles I'm
Hold
learning,
on, I'm
like
sorry. Hold on. Wait a minute.
body worker. That might be worse, but yes.
Oh no, you're 100% it's worse. The body worker?
Body worker. That yeah, that's a title they
Hey,
use.
I'm gonna go see
That's
the.
like the same thing. It is body work massage. That's what it is. This
Oh
I'm
no, I
learning.
understand. No, I fully understand. But I think if you say, "Hey, I'm gonna go to my see my massage therapist," that sounds professional. Hey, I'm gonna go see my body worker. I mean, am I wrong? That seems completely different.
Body worker sounds cooler.
They're gonna well, to some people maybe they're gonna go work my body. I
Okay.
feel like no matter how cut this, it's gonna sound worse. But that's just me. Again,
Okay.
I'm just immature.
I just finished watching an episode of Sex and the City where something happened with Samantha and her massage therapist, or something almost did with the
Doing your
miss.
homework.
Huh? Doing my homework. Yeah. I'm
Hey,
just
good for you.
on my homework. It's all over and I don't care. But it's super interesting and I have to be
Yeah.
okay with, just like massaging and touching people. And that's totally fine. So I don't know. I don't think it would be weird. I'm there to help people, not in the way you think, okay, yeah, we'll just
I wasn't thinking that.
we'll just stop right there. There's
That time I was not thinking that.
not a win.
I have I have more respect for you than that. Now, if you go around calling yourself a body worker, then it might change.
That might change.
I'm not going to go up to someone and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, my co-host is a teacher and she's also a body worker." Yeah, I'm not going to. Right? Would it be weird?
Right.
This is not very nice, but like if you like saw like a really big person come through, how would you feel about that? I mean, it'd be kind of weird, right? A little more squishy.
A little more squishy. Yeah, I mean, no.
All right. I'm just trying to see where you're at with this whole thing.
I'm in school. I've already practiced on all kinds of body types. I've already
all right. What's the biggest person you've practiced on?
I don't know.
She knows.
Pretty big.
All right.
Yeah, like trouble walking, pretty big.
Okay, well then why'd you throw that? Okay, that makes this whole thing less fun.
I don't want to throw a number out. I don't even know.
But now you make okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Deb.
Well,
now I sound like more of a jerk than I was intended to. So you're having a tough time walking. Well, okay. Yeah. Well, now.
You just asked what the biggest person.
I was looking for a size, not disability. Oh, you put me in a box.
I can't get. That's the only description I have.
Way to turn it on me, Deb. Thanks a lot.
But yeah, I have to be, So it's interesting.
Sure, I bet.
But yeah, I mean, teachers get fired for anything these days. So the minute they figure I'm a massage therapist, I'll probably get fired.
I feel like certain teachers haven't been fired for more. So you might be okay.
I might be in the clear. We'll see.
You might be in the clear. Yeah. How do your hands feel? Your wrists and forearms after these?
They teach us proper form, so I'm fine.
Oh, okay.
Nothing hurts. I'm not sore or anything.
Oh, not at all, huh? Mm-mm. Interesting.
It's all about form.
Which is kind of crazy, right? Because even if you had really good form, like while you were lifting weights, you'd still feel some soreness, right?
Yeah, I mean, but I also haven't done like a full day of massaging like 6 sessions or anything. I'm sure, you might feel it then. But I have done like in my classes, like an hour and a half practice massage on someone already. And then an hour and a half again the next day. And, even in the same day, it's an 8-hour class. So each time I go.
Gotcha.
Except my weekends, but so far, no, I haven't. They come by and they check your form. You're actually not supposed to use your thumbs, is what I'm finding out.
Okay.
About leverage and body mechanics. If you understand body mechanics and it's how you stack your body. If I push on something like this, that with my arm straight, it's less pressure on my shoulder, on my joints, than if I were to bend my elbow and press a lot like the other way. It's just if you understand body mechanics, it's actually not super difficult.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Cool. Interesting.
Yeah, I had a bunch of other questions about that, but I'm sure people are like, I don't care about any of this, which is understandable. So how's everything going, Deb?
Good. I just got off of my spring break and
I forgot. That's always so weird.
It was so early.
Yeah.
So early. My spring break is already gone. I'm already going to be no breaks until May 30th or whatever, the end of May. No breaks from here on out.
Which is, for you guys probably feels like an eternity, but as far as months though, you're close. You're very close.
Getting there. 2 months. If I don't count like the rest of March and I just focus on just April and May, I have 2 months left, which is amazing. I can't wait.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but spring break was good. I went to a few concerts, which is why I wasn't at the Jordan episode, which I listened to today, by the way. So I laughed pretty hard a few times.
Oh, good. That's why we have him on.
I keep picturing the towel under his armpits.
Oh, I can't picture it any less. It's ingrained in my head forever.
I thought you were going to say the towel was like wrapped around his head, because you taught like as soon as you were saying in his towel, and I'm like, is he like pretending it's around like he has hair or something? And then as soon as you said it's around his, like how a girl puts a towel around her, around her chest, I about died. I was driving too. It was pretty dangerous. Like
Well, I'm glad you made it to the show. Yeah, I didn't want to bring it up. I wasn't going to bring it up. And then he came in hot with it. I'm like, all right, if we do this, I'm gonna do it. So yeah, no, it was shocking. No, I did make the joke. I didn't mention this on the podcast, but I did tell him. I said that's basically the only thing you were missing is you needed something on top of your head, like you were drying your hair as well. This it was incredibly tough to see.
The funny thing is that he does it all the time. I guess that's what you guys were saying.
I guess so.
But you know what? He advocated for himself. He was like, why am I being shamed for this? I agree. He should be able to have his towel however he wants, wherever he wants, however he wants to do that, whatever makes him feel good. So
that's interesting. Now, can you say that same thing without giggling?
No.
Okay, there we go. So you tried and you said the right words, but the actions behind the words and the mannerisms did not back up what you were trying to say because you realize it's ridiculous.
I'm not judging him. It is funny.
So you kind of are judging him. I don't know if you can find it funny and not judge him at the same time, Deb. I don't know if those two things work. The reason it's funny is because it's ridiculous. And so, yeah, it was shocking. And yeah, it was, like I said, he's not, I mean, you've been around my brother. He's a little taller than me. So he's not a small guy. He needs big towels for after showers because, like I said, you're a fan of The Office. So when I said it's like Meredith, you knew exactly which episode I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, and then your reaction as soon as you started describing my reaction for when they were doing the Finer Things Club, and I was like, oh, duh, Toby. When he looked at Toby, and Toby didn't have a hat; he had a bow tie. I have to correct you.
That's right. Thank you. I do appreciate that. That's right. It was a bow tie.
But he still was like, the way he looked at him, and he goes, "Oh my god!"
It's like, this is why people are leaving.
This is why people are leaving. I died.
So yeah, no, it was an unfortunate scene. And like I did say, I was upset at our youngest brother because I'm like, you didn't think to mention this to me. This is good material. Like we could have roasted him for days. And so, but like you said, I do respect the fact that he was willing to stand up for himself. And
yeah, you do you, boo.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You need to see what's.
Hey.
Yeah. Well, just anyways. Yeah, never mind. Okay. So it was a disturbing thing that I didn't need to see ever again. So
that's great. But yeah, everyone needs to go back and listen to the one before this, the pet peeves with Jordan, because that was pretty hilarious.
Yes, enjoy that one. It was a lot of fun.
Highly recommended. But I missed that night because I was at the Carrie Underwood concert here in Sac. I've had tickets since last summer. It was so good. She's amazing. I'm a concert goer. I don't know how many. A lot of people are particular about how they want their concerts. She's a great performer.
Yeah.
But I like when here I am being picky about Carrie Underwood. Like, who do I think I am? But I like when performers give a tiny bit of an intro before they play a song, like maybe how it started, or maybe just, I don't know, a short story. It doesn't have to be a long drawn out speech. It could be a couple of sentences or something. But she kind of just went from one song to the next, but she also did a lot of costume changes. So it's like, well, right. So she did amazing, but I was like, oh, I wanted her to talk more. And then my friend Jen, who was one of the girls that was with us, she's like, ew, I hate when they do that. So everyone has their different preference. Like I went to a Kane Brown concert a few years ago at the same place, Golden One. And he didn't have any outfit changes, but he used that time he talked about his past. He talked about, I wrote this song because my dad was in jail and Sure. And there was always like a thing. So I don't know. I was just like, oh, I wanted her to talk more, but then I'm a talker, obviously. So yeah, songs were amazing. Like she's amazing. So
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, that is funny. I'm sure it's probably split right down the middle as far as who appreciates what kind of concert and like the flow of the concert. You know what I mean? It's probably very split with that.
Yeah. So yeah, it was great. And even the Saturday, sorry, I have a lot to catch you up on. Even
that's why I'm here.
The Saturday before that, Deb and I went to a Hardy concert, like last minute.
Okay.
Her grandma got us tickets. Her grandma likes to do the gambles and won these tickets.
Likes to do the gambles.
Yeah. She won us at the Hard Rock way out in Wheatland. So
yeah,
that was fun. That was a really good show. And then I went to Carrie. And then this past Saturday, I finally saw Girls Gotta Eat.
Yeah, that was awesome. You want to talk about, a little bit about that? That was pretty funny.
It was amazing. Yeah. So this is a podcast, obviously. I mean, it's girls, it's raunchy, they're crazy, but it's like a dating. They give lots of relationship advice. They have a lot of professionals. They've had Lewis House. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. I'm not here
They're very funny.
they're very funny, whatever. And so I'm obsessed with them, clearly. And so I took Deb with me. She's like, whatever, I'll go with you. She's heard a couple other episodes. I'm the girl fan here, but
And just so everybody knows, because Deb Lee was a guest on one of our previous podcasts, but she's a coworker of yours and one of your good friends.
yes, she's a coworker, good friend. I see her every day, talk to her all the time. Yeah. And so I basically made her go with me. And when I bought tickets a long time ago, I was like, I bought 2 tickets. No one else listens to them. It's just me, but you're going with me. She's like, okay. So I took her with me. But what they do in these shows, it's like a live comedy show, but it's like a comedy show, but there's a lot of audience interaction, but it's like a storytelling. It's kind of like one of their live podcasts, kind of with the audience involved. And they intake people's emails and will involve the audience in that way. So the week of their show, they posted, okay, send us your stories so we can read some at the show. So I wrote a thing. I'm like, there's no way they're going to read this, but I'm just going to send it because they're super popular.
Sure.
And so I wrote, anyway, long story short, I wrote something about, hey, I'm bringing my best friend who is single and she needs to, can you basically expose her, and like she needs to be seen. She's like shy. And so they ended up reading it.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, you saw the story, the audience.
That was hilarious.
Deb went on stage and it was, so she went on stage and she even the girls were like, well, what's your Instagram handle? Can people DM you? And so she said it, which I was shocked. I was like, what?
She did say it, because I think the video cut off before.
Yeah, I cut it off. Yeah, I didn't, because it would have been another post. I'm like, this no one's gonna. So she said it, and as soon as from walking down the stage to sitting down, she had so many followers already, boom, 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 boom.
That's awesome.
She's got someone in her DMs in the works as we speak.
Oh, wow.
Yes, plan is going as hoped for. So
well done.
It was amazing. So anyway, that was incredible. It was a dream come true in the moment for sure. So anyway, that was fun.
That's awesome.
That's
you guys had great seats too.
Yes. Well, I got really lucky. I literally was watching the countdown when the tickets went live.
That's smart. Yeah.
Yeah. And I was at work. I was like, my kids, you're fine. You guys don't need me. You guys can
girls got to buy tickets.
Fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't teach right now.
Yeah.
So, right. And so I was trying to I was going to buy a bunch of tickets to have a bunch of my girlfriends go, but they were starting to go super fast. And I knew I wanted a floor seat, and there was just 2 right next to each other on the second row. And it was a good deal. Like the price wasn't bad either. So I was like, okay, well, Deb's going with me. I'm going to make her go. So
and it seems like it worked out pretty well.
Yeah. So it was fun. Oh, and so I have to also add something that I didn't get to record because it was just in the moment. It was super exciting. I didn't start recording her until she went on stage, because she recorded them reading the letter out loud because she thought it was about me. She didn't know she had no idea.
Yeah.
So I recorded her going on stage, but in between that, she wouldn't get up out of her seat at first because the girls were calling her up. And I stood up and I was pointing at her. And we got the whole Crest Theater chanting, Deb, 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 so loudly. So then after the show, even going to the bathroom and walking out of the theater and even going out downtown after, we had so many girls stop and go, it's Deb, Deb, Deb.
That's so funny.
So it was hilarious. So it was a local celebrity Deb for the night. It was hilarious. It was funny for me because she gets embarrassed easily and she's super shy. Sure. So I loved it.
That's so funny. Yeah, no, it was fun seeing her on stage, having the conversation with the host.
The host goes, so Deb, what are you looking for? And she goes, somebody.
Yeah.
That's all you had. That's all you could say. Somebody.
That's how, well, then there you go. That they probably realized pretty quickly why you wrote the letter in the first place. She
Mhm.
just needed a little push to get out there.
Yeah, it was funny. So anyway,
That's awesome.
there you go. There's the Deb update. That's all I got.
Cool. Well, that's all I got. Seems like quite a bit.
Yeah.
You were busy this spring break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now it's over.
Well,
Now
that's
it's
sad. But yeah. Yeah, it ended on a high note though.
it had to end. Yes, it did. So
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
So it was,
Awesome.
and then yeah, so okay, so Josh, what have you been up to? Enough of the Deb show. What's Joshua been
Oh
up
no,
to?
not much. I'm just, I've been working on podcast stuff, keeping this thing afloat while
Just,
you were gone.
just
Uh,
keeping the podcast afloat.
I mean, not a big deal. Amongst
Well,
everything else that I do, I just, don't mind me, Deb. I was having computer issues at one point. Stuff wasn't going well. But guess what? I figured it out. So that's all I got.
I knew you would.
No, well,
You got this.
you didn't think about the podcast once since you were gone. Let's be honest.
I did. I couldn't wait to tell my stories.
Okay, I believe that. I do believe that. No, it's been good. I mean, we've talked about it a million times, and I don't feel like we need to talk about it anymore tonight. But the weather is obviously a lot of rain, so I had some yard plans and things like that, and the rain's like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
We're gonna make
No,
it
you
muddy
don't.
and gross for you, and so nothing as exciting as what you were doing. I was at one point I was thinking about going to the high school playoff basketball games at
Oh,
Golden
nice.
One, but
Yeah.
I was telling some people, I'm like, it's weird if no one from Sacramento is in the game, then it kind of takes something out of it for me. So ended up not going to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, things have been good. Like I said, not as exciting as you, but things
Yeah.
have been going well. So now this is something I mentioned to you. I'm just going to go for it. If I feel like I need to cut it, I'll cut it later. So a couple weeks ago, I told you there was a story that I was trying to figure out how to tell. I wanted to tell another podcast. I feel like it's a good podcast story, but there's some parts of it that, like, yes, I understand this is not going to be a very nice story. I'm going to try to justify it the best that I can, but it is what it is. And so if you guys are offended by the story, I apologize. So this happened a little, huh?
But he doesn't care. Okay, continue.
Not right now. Maybe after I say it, I'm like, what did I do? So I'm going to try to leave as much detail out of it as possible. So anyways, I was talking to my dad, and Jordan was there. Jordan can confirm this story. Excuse me.
Did you already tell me the story or no?
I didn't tell you the story.
Okay.
I've not told you the story. So, I was at my parents' house. Jordan was there. He was wearing clothes this time. He wasn't in his towel. So that was good. And, him and I was kind of hanging out watching TV, and our dad was there. And for some reason, I don't know what prompted my dad to tell this story, but he was telling us a story about how years ago him and our neighbor, my parents' neighbor, were working on their fence. The fence had come down during a storm like this. They had to rebuild it. And so they were working on it, trying to rebuild it. And my dad walked out to the backyard, and the guy who lived there with his wife basically told my dad, he's like, hey, I'm going to be moving out pretty soon. And my dad's like, oh, he's like, are you guys moving? And he's like, no, we're actually getting divorced. He's like, oh gosh. So my dad's retelling the story. And this is a story I've heard before, but for some reason, something in his day sparked his memory. So he decided to tell a story. And so he said, yeah. And she's leaving me for a woman, actually. Okay. And so, this lady has been living next door. The guy moved out. And so he's like, yeah, it was just wild that, we were just building a fence, and all of a sudden he drops this bomb on me that he's getting divorced. And then he starts spilling his guts about the whole thing. It's like, oh, okay. So he's retelling that story and saying like, yeah, it was just wild when he told me. That's fine. We've heard the story before. Not a big deal.
You've heard it from the neighbor or from your dad?
From my dad. I've heard this story from my dad before. So he's told me this before, but like I said, something, I don't know if he saw something on TV. I don't know if he saw something, like he saw our next door neighbor. Something sparked his memory. He's like, I'm going to tell this story again. I'm like, all right, I've heard it, but I'll listen. And so that's fine. Not a big deal. Well, then someone, a family friend, comes over to the house. He decides to tell her the story with us present. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. I don't know. I'm not sure why he's telling the story. So he's telling the story, but here's the problem. he gives more detail to the story, stuff that me and my brothers probably wouldn't want out there. Because the lady, when she got divorced, she had her new girlfriend move in. This lady they had kids. This lady was really nasty and not the nicest person in the world. Like, you could always hear her yelling at the kids next door, not even her kids, but she was just constantly yelling. And we're like, this is a horrible human being. It's a horrible human being. I wish this lady was not here anymore. So we had a nickname for her that we used to call her because she was super tall. I mean, she was like 6'5", 6'6", very tall, a woman. And so as my dad is telling the story to this family friend, he's like, and what was her name again? I'm like, oh no. He's like, was it Stretch? You guys, her name was Stretch, right? I'm like, oh no. And then Jordan looks at me. He's like, well, how are we going to get out of this one?
Oh no.
I said, no. Her name wasn't Stretch. I said, that was our nickname for her because she was super tall. And and then it's like, you had to backpedal. I was like, but she was super mean to the kids. Like, she was really, I mean, just a nasty, nasty woman. I said, so, we were justified in having this mean nickname for her, which was all true. But like, we don't want that stays inside the house. That stays inside the family.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's a nice nickname for someone that you don't like very much. That's tall.
Right. Don't worry. It gets worse. It gets worse. It gets worse.
Okay.
And so he's like, yeah, I do remember that she would yell at the kids a lot. And I'm like, yeah, man. And so I'm like, perfect. We're in the clear. And I kind of look at my brother like, okay, we escaped this one. We're fine. But then he says, he's like, and she always wore like a knee brace too, right? Well, here's the thing.
Now he's describing her.
No, right. Luckily, he forgot this little detail. And I turned the conversation away from this quickly because she did not wear a knee brace. At one point, she had a prosthetic leg.
Oh.
And did we make fun of that? Yes, we did. We did make fun of the leg. And so I'm like, we got to get out of this conversation right now because he's taking us down a very bad road that's going to expose us as horrible people. So luckily, he didn't go that direction. But like, yeah, she wore a knee brace all the time. No, she didn't have her left leg, Dad. She didn't have her left leg. She was a pirate next door. She was a 7-foot pirate that we made fun of. Are you happy? You've exposed us as horrible human beings. And so like, ooh, I got out of that. And luckily he changed the conversation. I'm like, man, you gave way more details than you needed to. This family friend didn't need to know all this stuff. And now, she probably sees us differently. So,
You're like, well, I feel like, what's funny is I feel like my dad has told stories before too, where I'm like, Dad, that's not what happened. Let's reel it back.
Yeah. Unfortunately, my dad hit it the nail on the head and he almost got every single detail right. I'm like, oh no. To the point, he's like, you guys, what was her name? Her name was Stretch. Man, her name wasn't Stretch. You know it. That's what we called her because she wasn't a nice lady. Man. And then, like I said, as soon as he said that nice thing, he's like, she always wore a knee brace. No, we got to get out of this because it was not a knee brace. She lost her leg.
What was the reaction of the family friend?
She's like, oh, okay. She's like,
okay. Okay.
Yeah, we had to get out of that one very quickly because that next part would have probably changed how she saw us. So,
hey, if that were me, I'd be like, you didn't call her Stretch. You called her something else, didn't you? I would have been egging you guys on.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'm glad you weren't there. Yeah. No, I'll say this. If he was telling you this story, that might have been different. I'm like, I'll tell Deb. I don't care. But yeah, this lady sucked. The lady that she lives with now, her partner now, very, much better lady.
So so the guy moved out and then the new partner moved in.
Yeah. Pretty quickly. And that lady sucked. Like, she was just a horrible human being. And then the next lady that she started dating was very sweet. I wish she would have stayed with that lady because that lady was really nice. And, the lady she's currently with and has been with for quite a while. She's a nice lady as well, but the first one sucked. That's all I'm going to say about that. But yeah, so it's just one of those situations where the story, it was a story that's like, yeah, I probably shouldn't leave the house. Now I told it on a podcast, but it's like, you know what?
It's fine. We
don't need to keep going on this road. And he just kept giving more and more and more details. I'm like, oh no.
Now everyone knows. So
I know. It's like, how do I get out of this jam? Ooh, not great.
Too late.
So luckily we escaped that last part of it.
Nice.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah.
Kind of.
I know. It's funny now. Like, ooh,
Right.
that could have been pretty bad. But anyways, yeah. So
Later. You can
I
always tell
don't
your
usually make fun of people with one leg. That was just a special circumstance.
special. He said she had a knee brace. You're like, no.
It's like, no, she was super tall. It's like, yeah. Yeah. There's more I could say, but I'm not going to. I've already gone too far. So
That's not bad. That's pretty PG. You're good. You're in the clear, I think.
it took me a while to how to share that story. That story would be better if it wasn't PG, but it's much, much worse if it's not. So we'll leave it there.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what happens when you have people, like, three guys next door. Yeah, that stuff's gonna happen. You know, it's not supposed
Nicknames
to be.
are gonna be made. Yep,
Yeah.
for sure.
But I've always felt like this. This maybe just makes me feel like a good person or a better person. I feel like I'm not gonna make fun of someone that like truly make fun of someone unless I feel like they deserve it.
I
You
feel
know what I
like
mean?
I was waiting for that. I was like, unless.
Yeah, there's definitely no less. You know what I'm saying? Like if someone was just, doing their thing, like there's no reason to make fun of someone for no reason. But the moment they do something that's like, okay, well, I guess we've opened it up a little bit.
Yeah,
You've earned this making fun of,
I think
you
it's
know?
normal.
And she definitely did. I mean, you really could hear her yelling at the kids from inside the house.
Wow.
And like we weren't in the backyard, we were inside our house, and you could hear her yelling from inside her house. It was wild.
I'd call her something else, but I'll tell you later.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you more later too. So, anyways, like I said, I just wanted to share that. Sometimes those little things pop up.
Dad.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
like I said, we're good, but he did not. He just kept going, and I'm like, man, not
Like
great.
it's like watching a car accident.
Yeah, but the car's coming at me. You know what I mean?
Like I gotta get away from here.
And like I'm trying to move out of the car, and the car's like trying to hit me. I'm like, no. So luckily, it just kind of bumped me. We're good.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So, anyways, did it need to be said? Not really, but I wanted to. So,
Good. Off your chest.
yeah, as if you guys can't tell by now, this is just a random episode.
This is just a spouting off and catching up. But we did
Yeah,
have some questions come in.
we did. Yeah, we
We
put
have
that out there. Got a few questions from some people. Jeez, we
Yep.
got a few questions from some people.
Some people. Yes,
There we
we
go.
did. Do you want
So,
to start with one?
say it again.
Do you want to start with one?
Sure.
Okay.
This one is actually for my wife. We'll start with the easy one. She said, because she knows you just had spring break. So, favorite spring break memory. Jeez, I can't talk. That's what I get after telling that horrible story. Okay. Like,
My turn to talk. Well, I'll give you a break.
yeah, she has no leg. You're about to have a stroke, Josh. Okay. So, favorite spring break memory, which it sounds like you might have just had one.
It tops it for sure. It goes neck and neck, not quite, but neck and neck with Europe last year. So I went to Europe over my spring break last year.
Oh, that was over spring break, huh?
Yeah, which I am currently posting because I miss it so much. I'm sure it's annoying, but you don't have to look at it if you don't want to. But it's on my story. I keep saying 1 year ago today, 1 year ago I was here, 1 year ago I was here. It's more so for me. Obviously, I don't care. No one has to look at it or like it, and I'm not here to brag, but it's just nostalgic. It was amazing. It was it was a really good experience, and I was with my friends, and that was fun too. But yeah, this spring break was pretty cool. Just in a low key, like just went to some concerts, hung out with friends. The girls got to eat thing that was for me, that was epic. And to like have, hopefully hopefully match Deb with someone too is epic as well. Anyway, hey, yeah, no, but I think last year's spring break has to top it for sure.
Yeah.
Sneaking to Europe, that was cool.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I feel like for like a lot of my spring breaks, especially in high school, I was playing baseball tournaments. So that was a big part of that. But I will say the one that came to mind when she asked that question was Rachel and I think it was our first year of being married. We went to Disneyland during her spring break, which was awesome. That was a lot of fun. It was a super fun trip. We had a great time. The weather was really nice during that time. I will say the one part that sucks, and I've mentioned this to her multiple times, and she's probably like, I'm sick of you saying this. Like, this is just how it is. I didn't grow up with teachers as parents. So the idea of going during spring break, during summer, during all of those holiday, like during the middle of like winter break, all that stuff is foreign to me. I'm like, you avoid that. Like in my family, like you avoid that at all costs because that's the worst time to go. So with being married to a teacher, you don't have that option anymore. And so, yeah, that was my first experience going on during spring break too, which wasn't horrible, but it definitely is a different beast for sure. But that was a really fun trip.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, it's crazy. It's like, and how long ago was that?
7 years ago. 7 years ago,
Okay.
roughly.
I feel okay. And I feel like the past couple years, whatever, because some school districts now, at least mine doesn't want spring break around Easter because it's considered religious, and they tried it. That's why they don't call it Christmas break, they call it winter break. But
Sure.
like, so that's why I just had mine, and everyone's like, but Easter's not until April. I know. It's just, this is my spring break. I don't know. So I feel like it's so scattered. Like my sister's spring break, she works in Santa Rosa, a teacher, is now. So mine was last week, hers is now. Again, not anywhere. But then there's people who have spring breaks right before, right after. I feel like they're so spread out now that you could probably take the gamble and go and hope that that's not everyone else's spring break as well. But I feel like that many years ago, like even 5 years ago, everyone had either before or after Easter, usually usually the week before Easter.
Right.
Always everyone's spring break. So
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
but yeah, I'm sure there was lots of children there.
Which that didn't bother me, but we we obviously know it bothers you. So it's like, oh, freaking kids, which makes sense for you. You're trying to get away from them.
Yeah.
That's your spring break too. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, there's more kids here. I can't get away from these
Well,
little
you know what?
punks.
It's fine because I'm not working. I don't have to police them or yell at them or contain them. Although
It's
my
true.
natural instinct is to do all of that. I know I don't have to. So
I'm glad you don't, because that would probably be
yeah. Well, it's funny. Quick side note, just speaking of like containment. So I went bowling a few weeks ago.
nice.
I was on a date, and there were teenagers bowling right next to us.
Okay.
And everything was cool. Like they were doing their thing, not bothering us. And he was like, just because, obviously, I mean, he's like, yeah, I'm surprised you didn't want to say anything to them. And I'm like, no, they were fine. Like, hey, I don't want to talk to teenagers. Like, I don't want to make friends with them, buddy, but like, they were very well behaved. I'm not going
Yeah.
to mess that up. I'm not going to, I
Sure.
will leave you alone. You're cool. They weren't acting a fool or anything.
Right.
But yeah, so even if like I'm around kids, yeah, I'm like, I was very impressed by how they were behaving. They were like probably more mature than I was. I was, flipping him off and stuff. And just cause I get very competitive. So,
Who won?
um, he did, but I was almost winning on the last game. And then they shut our lane down because our time was up. So I was very upset.
Almost doesn't really count though, does it? So shout out to that guy. Good job.
But yeah, but that was, oh yeah. So, but anyway, Disneyland is always fun.
Yeah, it
And
was cool.
yeah,
Yep.
nice.
Yep. All right, Deb. We're just gonna go back and forth
Okay,
like
so
normal?
Nicole sent a question in.
Nicole coming on the
Nicole,
show pretty soon.
yeah, she's coming up on the show. This one's specifically geared towards me, so sorry, but
That's okay.
she said, "Why do you want to work at the dive bar?" Matt wants to know. So Nicole works at Log Off now. She's like one of the, I don't know how to classify her title, like a manager, or I don't know. She can correct me when she comes on here.
Just like the
Matt
top dog. We like Nicole.
Sure,
Yeah.
she's in charge. And Matt is the owner, basically. But he's just kind of like working out of he's out of state, but he's still an owner. But they're at I found out, I messaged her later, and they're at a brew tasting thing tonight. And so she's with Matt. So I guess anyway, she sent me a picture. She's at Crest Theater. And so the dive bar is right across there. So that was her question. It's stupid, but why do you want to work at dive bar? My answer is duh, because I want to be a mermaid. Everyone knows this. Everyone who's listening knows this. I just want to go in that tank with a fin and try to swim and look like an idiot. I don't care. I just want to do it. So that's why I want to work at dive bar.
I feel like Nicole knew that. And I appreciate you bringing that to light one more time, Nicole, because yeah, I think like what we're all thinking right now is that this is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. a ridiculous question. Why do you think I want to work at dive bar? Duh, it's a mermaid.
So thank you, Nicole, for bringing that to light and making her say that one more time. Because I think if we're honest, especially you guys being her friends, I'm not even looking at Deb right now. I'm looking directly in the camera at you, Nicole. I think that if you guys, as her friends, as her close friends, get her to say those words out loud enough, then she'll understand, this is insane. It's a long shot, but she's not listening to reason, but maybe if she says it herself enough, that might do the trick. So good for you. That's a good question.
Okay.
I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done too. You can go and ask your next question.
Okay, perfect. All right. I was going to save this one, but since we're on the topic of mermaids, this is from my boy Jordan. He said, this is a moral question. This is also for you, Deb. So we all know who the popular one is on this podcast. One does the work, the other one gets the glory. So would Deb accept and or allow a hall pass for herself or her partner if a mermaid/merman propositioned one of them?
Of course, both ways. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's gross. That's gross. And let's be very clear here too, because we all know mermaids don't exist. So if Deb was getting towards the end of her life and this interaction, this hookup with a merman had not happened yet, just be very careful if you take Deb to an aquarium, because I bet those fish are going to start looking a lot like mermaids, and it's going to, she might lose her mind at some point. She might jump in the tank and
my elderly years
assault a fish.
I do have to say, I think I literally found my future self. I don't believe in time travel, but maybe I do, because I was at, oh my gosh, I forgot what brewery. Give me a second. It'll come to me. I don't know why I can't think of the brewery that I was at, but I was at a brewery,
Right.
the last over spring break. I was just there having lunch with Deb. And as we're leaving, there was, an older lady just sitting by herself. And I walked by, and I had a t-shirt on that is a black 805 t-shirt, and on the back it had a mermaid on it, and obviously that's why I got it, because there's a mermaid on the back.
Sure.
And it was from the 805 brewery in Paso Robles, whatever. She stopped me. She yelled at me to stop, because I know she was talking, and I stopped, and I was just I looked at her, and she's like, "Where did you get that shirt?" And I was like, "Oh," we were talking, and she's like, "I love mermaids." And I was like, "Oh, you do?" And I got closer to the table, and Deb's like, "Oh, come on, we have to go." And I'm like, "What?" And so she's like, "Yes." She's like, "I have," and she's just chilling by herself. She's got her cane. She doesn't give no care in the world. She's just chilling. She's like, she's telling me about all the mermaid stuff she has in her house. And then I start telling her about all the mermaid stuff I have in my apartment. And then she looks at me and she goes, "They exist. They're real." And I said,
"Oh gosh,
I think you're my soulmate." And then we exchanged. Her name's Diane. So I think that's a sign too, because it starts with a D. So I think I saw my future self.
Yeah, it starts with a D. She's crazy. It makes sense. I don't like how you lean to the side when you told that story, kind of like watch how cool this lady is.
It was amazing. It was the best interaction I had the whole day. It was great.
I think that's something you should say over and over and really evaluate what that means for your life.
Oak Park Brewing. Sorry, that's where we were at.
Oak Park Brewing.
Yeah. So anyway,
all right, there you go.
Story. Okay.
Well, there you go, Jordan. I'm sure that's the answer you expected, but now it's confirmed and it's recorded. So there you go. She would definitely, yeah, she would go for it with the merman.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Do you want me to say my next question?
Yeah, please. Let's get off the mermaid thing.
Let's get off the mermaid thing. Okay. Okay. So I got a bunch from another coworker and friend of mine named Caitlin. Caitlin was actually
What's up, Caitlin?
Caitlin, no T.
That's what I said.
Caitlin. Okay. Well, Caitlin.
My apologies.
Our principal still calls her Caitlin, and she's like, "That's great. That's exactly where I want to be. That's fine." And so anyway, Caitlin was on the Not Here to Judge podcast with me about depression, and what else did we, anyway, she's got a dark sense of humor like me. So
okay.
She texted, she popped off, she gave me a plethora of questions. So
nice. About time.
I know, right?
About
I'll read
time
it
some
to
people send us
you
some questions.
as well. This is an interesting question. What is the maximum amount of shoes or other clothing item you have before you consider it a problem? What is the maximum amount of shoes or other clothing item you have before you consider it a problem?
Gotta be
So
careful with this
like,
one because
what?
my wife likes shoes. She's a PE teacher as well, and so I'm like,
Yeah.
this one's tough call for me because I gotta be careful.
You gotta be careful. Some controversy in the house.
Oh, this one's getting me in trouble. No, I think. I mean, this is my personal opinion. Um, Honestly, I don't care what people do, but for me, if you're running out of spaces in like the normal spots where clothes are supposed to go and shoes are supposed to go, and you can't keep them like organized in a like a civilized way, then it's probably way too much. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because even I was gonna say like, I mean, I'm sure this happens to most people, and I don't think it's necessarily an indicator that you have too many clothes. But like, how many times do you go through a closet like, oh, I love that shirt, and you're like, I haven't worn that for like 6 years. Do I really love that shirt? But it's like, that could be maybe a sign that you have too many clothes too. But like, I do think that if you have a certain amount of space in your dresser, in your drawers, and in your closet, and stuff doesn't fit like in a nice way, if like stuff's on your floor, if you have piles of stuff, if you have boxes of stuff, like, oh, those are my boxes of sweatshirts. Oh, over there I have like 3 boxes of socks. That might be a problem because you ran out of space in these other
You ran
areas
out
where
of
the clothes
space.
are actually supposed to go.
Exactly.
That might be an issue.
Yeah.
For me personally, I also think if you have clothes hanging on things that clothes aren't meant to hang on, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like if you have like a bike in your room, like a Peloton bike, and you're hanging clothes off that Peloton or like a treadmill, you know, that would
Problem.
probably mean you might have too many clothes too. Just my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think when my closet is full and I find that I'm sifting through the same clothes to get to that one or like a couple of just t-shirts that I wear to work, or like, I have a rotation.
Yeah.
If I find that I'm just getting those and I'm moving all the bunches of clothes and I can't find it, I'm like, there have too many shirts. I think that's a problem. So that's when I start like grabbing stuff and I start tossing them Goodwill or take them to work, give them to my kids, whatever.
Yeah.
Um,
What about when the closet bar starts bending?
oh yeah,
That means you have too many clothes.
problem.
It's
That's a
like putting
problem.
stress on the wall. Like it's not good.
Yeah. Or I'll look at all my dresses that I never wear. Or because like if I do, I have a bunch of them, but my with my profession and my lifestyle and my hobbies, I probably wear like I'll wear nice clothes like here's nice clothes for me: ripped jeans and a cute shirt and like my wedges. That's nice. That's cute. Nice clothes for me. But like a dress, like, okay, unless I'm going to like 5 weddings a year, like I don't even like when I go wine tasting with my girls or if I go to brunch. Again, I've said this before. I
Hmm.
see the cutest girls all the time with their cute dresses and their hats or whatever. They just look super like,
Do you see a lot of hats?
I
I was
can't
going to
do
ask that last time.
it.
Do you see a
Yeah.
lot of the hats?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Not like all the time. Well, I don't know. I guess not so much here in Sacramento, but like
So,
when
okay. Because
I'm out of town, I guess.
yeah, because you made it sound like every time you go to brunch is like the Kentucky Derby,
Well, sometimes like
but not all the
it
time.
is. Not
That's
all
what
the
I'm
time.
saying. Like, is it how often do
No,
you see hats?
not all the time.
Yeah,
But
man, Deb's
at
really
wine,
painting a weird
but
picture of brunch.
a lot of wineries are outdoors, so girls
Sure.
will like these cute hats, kind of like my rich aunt hats, which need to start coming when the sun gets out. I'll start posting those again.
Nah, that's
But
okay. We don't need that.
so, but anyway, so when I see that I see I'll throw my when I have too many dresses too. I'm like, I'm not wearing these. Here's my 2 dresses that I'll stick with just in case I get invited to a wedding. Then I'll wear those.
Can you imagine just show up in a dress to work with like some Nikes on and a dress
I did
and your like the big PE hat? Can you
it was
imagine? Like,
it.
oh, she finally broke.
She
She lost her
broke.
mind.
She's crazy.
Yeah.
It'll be the most entertained my kids have ever been. That's for sure.
I was like, what is
Because
she gonna work on a garden? Like, what is she doing?
exactly. So
Yeah,
okay,
would
how
not be
was that?
great.
that was it. Anyway, that was a question there. So
Thank you, Kaylin. No T.
yeah, no tea.
There you go. Okay, so this one is actually I have two from your friend Deb Lee. What is your morning routine like? Is the first one. I'll do both these questions back to back. But her first one is, what is your morning routine like?
Okay.
I'm just gonna go first. Mine's super easy. I wake up, I shower, brush my teeth, and I'm pretty much done. Like there's not much to it. I don't have a crazy routine. Listen to, do some like if I'm driving to work, do some like prayer stuff on the way to work, listen to music, podcasts, stuff like that. But that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? So
That's
wake up, get a little spiritual, and then get ready for work. That kind of sums it up.
That's because you're a dude. So
Sure.
mine.
I'm aware.
Yikes. It takes me a hot minute to like get ready.
You know what? Let's just skip this one for Deb because I feel like we don't have enough time to go over it. The fact that she had to like, here we go. You're about ready to just jump into it, man. Deb, I feel like you knew what you were doing.
Here, I'll go fast. I get up, I brush my teeth, I put my contacts in, I make my first round of coffee, I wash my face, I put my face stuff on, I drink my coffee, I do some meditative reading, I go in and I put my eyebrows and my lashes on, I put my sunscreen on, I do my hair if I feel like it, I get dressed, I make my bed, I make my second cup of coffee to go, I make my lunch, I pack all my stuff, I make sure I got all my layers of PE clothing on, and then I'm out the door. Yes, thanks.
Very nice. We should podcast like that.
Just talk like Gilmore Girls.
Yeah, exactly. Like a 10-minute podcast. That's it.
Yeah. Anyway,
okay, very impressive.
Okay.
That was like listening to a podcast on, if anybody listens to our podcast on anything regular or anything other than regular speed, that clip is going to be a problem for you. You're going to look at your phone like, what just happened?
Like, what? Gotta go back and listen to it in regular speed.
Yeah.
Wait a minute.
Perfect. Well, awesome. Okay. Yeah, like you said, much different for guys. Look at my hair. My hair alone saves me a lot of time. And so, yeah, it's pretty easy, pretty simple for me and a little more complicated for you, but it makes sense. It makes sense. So her other question was, if you can live anywhere besides Sacramento, where would it be?
Anywhere besides Sacramento. Oh yeah, because I don't know why she asked that question. She's been on a kick of looking at houses in different states because of the prices. And I was like, delete. You're not gonna be able to be a teacher in those states if you want a house in that other state. So that's why she's on a different looking at houses in different states kick right now.
Now, I don't mean to interject in everything that you say, but I'm going to. Now, are we sure it's just because she's interested in other houses, or did any of this conversation happen after you pushed her on stage in front of a lot of people? I'm just saying,
her about that.
She's like, it could be getting away from you.
My coworker, I know, right? She's like, oh, this girl's crazy. I need to get away.
I'm just saying.
Very joking. She calls me way more than I call her. She likes me. She still likes me even after all that. Like she still wants to be my friend. So,
okay.
But we thought she was looking at houses because a girl messaged her.
Gotcha. Okay.
We girl talked about that. She's like, no. So anyway.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, I'm glad she still likes you.
Sometimes.
It wasn't the most convincing argument, but you seem pretty sure. So okay. So for her question, where would you want to
live? Probably the Carolinas. I don't know. I've never been there before, but I don't know.
Wait.
The Carolinas, North and South Carolina.
What are we doing? No judgment about your choice, but like it was more your reasons. Like, I don't know. I've never been there, but
I don't know. I've heard nice things about it and that it's similar to California, like near the coast, like the weather. I know that's not the same as California. Weather's a big deal to me. Like, I don't want to leave California specifically for the weather. I could do without the politics and the housing prices and a lot of other things, but the weather and like being near the ocean. Well, I mean, the ocean's not right here, but like we can go to the ocean if we want to. So
sure.
I've heard good things about the Carolinas. I've heard it's really pretty there.
Okay.
I guess. So anyway, if we're staying in country now, if we're going out of country, Costa Rica, like that's a no-brainer.
Okay. Yeah, she didn't specify. She didn't say it had to be in the US.
Costa Rica was awesome.
Okay.
Yeah. They have the best coffee I've ever had.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
For me, I was trying to think. I mean, I really do like Sacramento. But so I've never really thought about that too much, but I do like California as well because I think it's just in my blood. Just the weather and all that stuff it's just in me. But I think like my family and I go to Pismo Beach every year, and I really do love Pismo Beach. Like it's always a little cooler there on the coast there, but I just love that town. So it's a place that I've gone since even before I was born. So, or my family was going before I was born. So yeah, it might be somewhere like that. I really do enjoy it there.
Nice. Yeah. I mean, yeah, and I love I'm not going anywhere, but I love Sacramento, but I guess I would like to visit the Carolinas. I don't know if I'd want to live there. I don't know.
Probably one of the more strange answers you've ever given. But
changed my mind. But anyway, I don't know. That was a good question.
Don't let me change your mind. I'm just like, I thought there was you said you were very quick to say it, and then it was just followed up by, yeah, it sounds nice.
Sounds great.
Look, there's a lot of places that sound nice to me, but I don't plan on moving there. But that's okay. Hey,
Crystal Rose lives there. It's fine.
Oh, well, then there's your reason. Oh, now it makes sense.
Now it makes sense.
Oh, she's going to see the other woman. All right.
Get it? I'm seeing the woman I'm cheating on Josh with. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're not. I was gonna say this. I fully expect you said you're gonna stay here in Sacramento. I don't necessarily believe you. I feel like there's gonna be one of these times where I'm gonna say, hey, are you ready to podcast next Tuesday? Oh, by the way, I'm moving out of state Monday. What? That's how I think it's going to go down.
And then you'll be like, so what time zone are you in? So for you, it's going to be 9 o'clock? Or...
We'll see. We'll see. I might be too heartbroken at that point. It's like she just left. I'm not going to rearrange my schedule. No, we're still doing it at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Yeah. Deal with it, Deb.
Exactly.
It's 11 o'clock. That might be a whole different podcast that Deb's a part of. Can you imagine Deb at 11 o'clock at night trying to podcast? My goodness.
It don't have to be on it. I mean, I'd have to not work the next day. We'd have to be on a Friday.
Yeah. See, probably not going to happen either because your social life is too busy. So Fridays are kind of booked. Right. Fridays aren't meant for Josh and Connectable. Fridays are meant for other things that she enjoys.
Or Thursday, because then the next day it's like, okay, it's Friday. That's how I deal with soccer sometimes when we have late night games. It's like, I gotta get up early, but okay, it's Friday. It's the last day of the week, so it's fine. I could suck it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, when that time comes, we'll have to make some decisions. So when Deb just pulled like an Irish exit on this podcast, we know it's coming. It's actually the last question I have too. So you have some more?
Okay.
Before we wrap this thing up?
I have plenty, but I could do one more. I could do however many more. But here, yeah, okay. So
we'll do a couple. Is it from the same person?
Yes, it's from Kaylin.
So these are the last. This is like the last different person. Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, exactly. That's all. I have Kaylin blew up my phone. So, what's the most you'd pay for a good meal?
I don't know. You're talking to someone who doesn't have a lot of money.
Okay, let's say you have an endless.
I'm like looking for coupons.
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I guess answer it however you want. What's the what? Yeah.
No,
okay.
Let's
answer. Well, yeah, no, let's do real time. Yeah, because that's boring. If you say you have an endless amount of money, then screw it. I'll pay $1 million then for a good meal. So like, what? I guess right now, what's the most you'd pay for a good meal?
Ooh, I don't know.
Like what is a good meal to you? I'm just tacking on. This is my own question to piggyback off that. What is your definition of a good meal? Like, what would that look like?
Like Adalberto's? I don't know. No.
No, seriously, I crave their breakfast the number 24 all the time.
It's the best.
The best.
It's the best. I'm trying to eat better right now. I've been doing a lot better with my eating. The last couple of days, I had a couple of hiccups in the over the weekend, but yeah, it always sounds delicious to me. It's a problem, and they're 20. Most of them are 24 hours, which is also a bigger problem.
Mine is 24 hours. It's the worst. It's all Bradshaw. Ugh.
I'm so hungry right now. It's my own fault. You got fat, Josh. You got fat. Now you're in this position. Um, man, I'm trying to think. So, like on my honeymoon, um, there was a couple of like steak and seafood places. We went to Maui. There's a couple of places out there that were really good, and I can't remember how much we paid for it though. So, and that's where this is like a weird question for me to answer because I feel like if I say a certain number, they're like, "You think that's expensive? You're cheap."
Well,
And then,
yeah,
but then if I
whatever.
say too much, then it's like not realistic. So,
Yeah, I don't care. I'll
um,
say my answer. I don't care. Go ahead.
I mean, like a couple hundred. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um,
For now, for
yeah,
you and Rachel, like for both of you
yeah. For
combined.
both. Well, does she have to come?
Well,
I'm,
no,
I'm
no.
joking.
Poor Rachel. Rachel will be on her own, spending twice as much as you. Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It would
Expensive.
just be me looking out the window or in the window. It's like, hey, Rachel, make sure you bring something out for me, please. I'll
Okay.
keep the car
That's not
warm.
bad. No, that's
No.
yeah.
Well, and you know what? And I think we've mentioned this before on other conversations. I think what's was a little bit tricky for me too is so I've mentioned this before. I don't drink and
Mhm.
neither does my wife. And so I know that
A lot of money.
sometimes right. And that's why I'm like, that's where it's tough for me because I'm like, I know sometimes when you hear people talk about expensive dinners, that's a major factor in the
Hmm.
cost of the meal. So that's why I'm like, I'm a little
Yeah.
bit unsure of what I mean. That should tell you everything about me and my wife and how we spend money and meals. It's not that expensive usually. I don't even know what would be normal. Like if you exclude, like you could maybe you could tell me, like if you exclude the drinks from a meal, like what would be an expensive, like nice meal?
For two people,
Yeah.
if you
Or one of us. If Rachel just wants to go without me, that's fine too.
so for Rachel,
Yeah.
if like no wine and a good, I mean, depending on how I can't, I mean, like, yeah, we're for one person with no alcohol, like maybe like 80 bucks, 100 bucks.
Okay. So that's kind of in the
But that's me, and I'll get into why I said that number, but that's, I don't know. That's,
so I was like
and
thinking like 150.
alcohol's a big deal. Yeah.
Right. And that's what, like I said, it's that's
Hmm.
I know that's a big part of it. So when I hear sometimes people talk about like I heard one of my favorite comedians, Tom Segura, he was
Yeah.
talking about a meal that he paid for, and it was like $50,000.
See, at that, yeah,
But I mean, he's
that's
like,
like more than my starting salary as a teacher 9 years ago.
right.
Okay,
He
so
didn't want to say it at first on his podcast, and they convinced him, and it was pretty funny. He's like, it was like $50,000. So like 53,000, but like that's a different thing. It was a bunch of people, what I mean, he makes a ridiculous amount of money. So 50 to
yeah,
him is like,
right. It's all relative. Yes. Yeah.
it's all relative. So
Yeah.
yeah, but like my first thought was like 150, 200,
Yeah.
for two
Okay.
people.
Yeah. That's, yeah. Without alcohol. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right,
That makes sense. Yeah. Cause if you go to and the place, a place for me, I'm thinking of is like a good steak,
right,
like a good, that just comes in my brain. And
right.
of course, but then I have to have wine with my steak, and then I have to have like a good side dish, and then I have to have a little bit of dessert. Like it's just like, so for me, if I'm by myself and like with my salary, when I'm not in massage therapy school, so let's take that out of the equation. When I'm not paying for that.
So
Like
you're not gonna offer massages for a meal.
oh, I'm doing that right now with my friends for practice.
Well, that's not what I meant, but yeah, sure. I was thinking non-friends. Like you go to the restaurant, it's like, okay, I can't pay for this, but after work,
Whatever.
yeah, I can help you out
That's
with a
totally, that's
massage only.
that's the goal of my side gig. Yes. I just want a nice steak. That's it. I'm not that complicated. It's not that hard. I just want a nice bottle of red wine and a steak.
What's the
Um,
best steak you've had?
um, one from Echo and Rig. I've had a nice steak from there.
Oh, nice.
Oh, and the other place. Oh my God, I
Very
can't.
fancy.
Yeah, I can't remember what the other place was called. These were on dates. I'll just say it. So
Sure.
like, there's another place, and my friends keep asking, "What was it called?" I don't remember. I have to anyway. I gotta. It was.
Hmm. I don't believe you. I think you're trying to keep this place a secret.
I don't remember because I want to go back. I want to go back there.
Well,
Um,
you can't even remember where it's at.
I can't. It was in a hotel. It was like in downtown Sac. I think it was like inside the Hyatt Hotel. And it was a name, like that was the name of the restaurant, was like someone's first name.
Like Morton's?
it wasn't Morton's, but kind of like, but it was inside of a hotel. I think it
Hmm.
started with the J. It's gonna bug me. I'm gonna have
It's
to
gonna bug me. It sounds like it's gonna bug all your friends too.
let me try to look it up. But
Okay.
though,
Well,
I mean, those two, I mean, I can't do expensive stuff a lot. But if I were to like treat myself,
yeah.
like if I'm like by myself, which I have no problem doing, like to get like some wine and a steak, whatever, like I'll drop 100 on myself. Again, if I'm not in massage therapy school.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'm not paying for that. Let me
Yeah.
try to look it up.
Have you seen that movie, The Menu?
No, but I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Seriously just told me about it the other day. So
Like
that's
it's a dark comedy, like
yeah.
dark or like a black comedy. I think that was called. Not only it's dark comedy, I think it's like a black comedy. It's like it's funny, but at the same time,
Yeah.
it's kind of messed up. It's
Yeah.
kind of like that, and it's but it is pretty funny. But about like high end restaurant.
All right. Dawson's.
Oh, Dawson's, sure. Never
Dawson's.
been
Yeah.
there. Heard the name.
I looked up Steakhouse Sacramento. Morton's is on there. Echo and Rig. Outback is okay. But anyway, Dawson's.
Hey,
So
nothing
Dawson's and
wrong with
Echo.
Outback. I like
Nothing wrong with
Outback.
Outback. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
That sounds like you were. It sounds like, oh,
I'm
all
just
right.
saying, just because I've been spoiled at those two
Sure.
places, the more expensive the steak, and I couldn't believe the price. I was like, what? Oh my God. Like I could like, no, that's way too, but the more like it's really good.
Okay.
So
Can I ask you
I
a
feel like I'm
question?
a snob. Yes.
Okay. Well, it's too late because that's what I think of you like, ugh, yuck,
I'm a
Outback.
steak snob.
Hey,
Oh,
the most
oh,
common people can only afford
their,
Outback.
their onion blossom is amazing.
Awesome Blossom.
Awesome. They're awesome blossom. I will go for that any day. Oh, I'll go to
Yeah,
Outback, but
I
it's just
know.
I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't know if their steaks are at the level of Dawson's, but
I can tell
anyway,
you they're not. They're
yeah. So
not.
anyway, I will eat at Outback anytime though.
Okay, let me ask you a question though.
Hmm.
So, um, if someone was, let's say not a date. Well, if it applies to a date, then you can answer it for a date too. But like, say you're going out to dinner with some people and they're buying, right?
Hmm.
Do you feel comfortable enough? Like, how do you order in those situations, especially like a steakhouse? Because me personally, I don't feel comfortable because I think just the way I grew up, it was kind of like, hey, don't go nuts. Like if someone else is buying, like you don't just like get like the most expensive thing and then like add stuff on top of it. It's like, oh yeah, I'll get the most expensive steak and how about some mushrooms too? Like I always feel weird about that if someone else is buying. Like what are your thoughts on that type of thing?
Yeah, no, I'm totally uncomfortable. Totally. Even on dates, even
Same
on
boat.
well, like I've that those two were the most expensive dates that I've been on. And even that for me was like, ugh, but it's
Yeah.
like, but so, and I've also been on group situations where, someone is like, don't worry, I'm buying for all of us. And I'm like, what? And so I kind of just go with the flow of everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm not, I'm kind of gauging, what are you getting? Okay, what are you getting? Okay, what? I'm just kind of like, well, what do you guys recommend? I'm just looking. I'm definitely not getting the most expensive thing. And
Yeah.
sometimes I don't even want the most expensive thing. That doesn't look good.
Sure.
But I'm not trying to make it, I don't want to get the cheapest thing
Sure.
because I'll be like, why are you getting that? Like, then I get shit talked, they're like,
Right.
just get, they're like, they're like, we don't care. Just get whatever you want. So I'll kind of like, I'll just go with a medium. I'll kind of just get
Yeah.
kind of what everyone else is getting and not overshoot it. I don't know. I just kind of go with the flow and I don't
I'm in the
over.
same boat.
And if there's alcohol, I don't, I just, people are usually sharing bottles of wine and people like pouring into my glass. And I don't order anything extra for myself. I just kind of share things with everyone around me. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
That's
in the
me.
same boat. It always felt weird to me. Again, like I just feel like that's how like I was raised too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you don't need
Yeah.
to get, like I'm gonna get the potato skins. It's
Yeah.
like
But
at
I'm
a
also,
place like, but you're not gonna get the like
yeah.
the porterhouse steak, the most
Yeah.
expensive thing. You know what I mean?
Right. But I also know that some people find joy in treating people. So I also don't
Sure.
want to insult anyone or take that away from them. If I'm like, I'll just have an appetizer. I'll
Sure.
get if everybody at the table is getting an expensive steak, I'm gonna get one of the expensive steaks. I'm not gonna get the most
Sure.
expensive one, but I'll get probably the cheapest one. Probably. I don't know, but like I still don't want to like be the only one in the room. I just want to blend in. So
Well, no, that's
yeah.
my main point.
Yeah.
I'm not someone saying you have to get the cheapest thing at all.
Right.
That's not
I
it.
just
But
feel
is
weird. I
it?
don't.
Well,
Yeah.
there's issues like you said. There's issues that come along with that.
Yeah.
But I think there's some people that like just order. like I said, just start ordering a bunch of stuff.
Mhm.
And there's like a lack of aware, in my opinion, there's a lack of awareness, almost like a lack of appreciation. Like it almost is like a signal to me without them saying anything that you're just
Yeah.
kind of taking this person's like their willingness to pay for your meal for granted.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying is I feel like we're on the same boat. I think there
Yeah.
just needs to be an awareness.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that awareness and you're just starting to order a bunch of stuff, I'm looking down on you because I think you're
Well, and then
unaware and it's
they won't
garbage.
be invited again ever too.
Right. Maybe not. Right. Right. So, anyways, that's just something I thought was interesting. But
Yeah.
give us one more. Give us one more question. Especially if she wrote that many, we got to respect
She
the
wrote
the
so
effort.
many. So
Is there one that like pushes? Is there one that like pushes the limits without going over the limits? Because you shared some of the other ones. I'm like, that's very
why
funny, but can't really go there.
okay, why do men act like children when they're sick? There you
this could
go.
this could have yeah this could no this is a great question. This could have been a much longer podcast. Um,
We can make it the next one.
yeah, well, I probably shouldn't.
You
That's a good question.
do
That's
you
a good
agree?
question.
Were you thinking of an answer?
I'm trying to decide how much I want to say.
I don't, I mean, I haven't, I don't know. I've been in two relationships in my whole life that I've lived with a man.
Sure.
And I can say, unfortunately, two for two, the biggest babies I've ever seen when they're sick. But that doesn't ring true for everybody. I know that. I know
Yeah.
this. I don't know. There's always, I know that there's a floating stigma around that men are huge babies when they're sick. And then usually the female response to that is because because they don't ever have a period, they don't have to deal with cramps, they don't have to deal with childbirth, they don't have to they're virtually they live a pain-free life, so when they're sick it's like the world is crashing down on them. But however, I've also heard on different podcasts that if men, the certain men are act like babies in quotations when they're sick, it's because they just want they want to be cared for and nurtured or something. So I've heard a lot of
Yeah, that
different
one sounds stupid. That might be
theories.
true, but that, I mean, you can.
They
I'm
want to
telling you right
date their
now,
mom, basically. They
pretty
want their
much,
mom.
pretty
Okay,
much.
go ahead.
Yeah, I know that's the case.
I don't
Here's the
know.
problem. Here's the problem. It's a stigma for a reason, right? Like there's a lot of these things. It's like, oh, that's a stigma. Yeah, but why do you think it's a stigma? Because
Where did it
at
come
some
from?
at some
Yeah.
point, this
Yeah.
became kind of a thing, and someone pulled it from somewhere. It wasn't like one person did it. It's like, you know what? All dudes are kind of babies when they're sick. There's a lot of dudes that are babies when they're sick, and you can text Rachel right now if you want. I don't think I'm that, and that's not me just saying it to sound good or sound tough. Um, I just I've said this before.
Mhm.
I have the utmost respect for my mom. She's one
Mhm.
of the toughest people I know. Let's put it. She would brag about this, but like she's had. I have I'm the oldest of four. She had
Yeah.
all four of her kids naturally.
Ooh.
Just I mean, she's just a gangster when it comes to that stuff. Like so, she has a different level
Yeah.
of pain tolerance.
Yeah.
I've seen her be completely sick and still handle business. So when it comes to that, like I've always had so much love and respect for her in that. So I've always tried my best to emulate that as much as possible. So I'm not sitting here saying I'm the toughest person in the world, but I can tell you this: I'm not a baby when I'm sick. Like I said, you can confirm that with Rachel right now if you want, because I think especially here's my thing too, and I know this doesn't apply to everybody. Like I said, this could be a whole different thing, Deb. I almost like, do I even want to answer this question because I'm going to get
Like
fired up? But some of these dudes, like, it's like you got to find, and you know this as a coach, like you have to find another level, like, especially when you start having kids. You got to kind of man up and suck it up. Like your kids, you still take care of your kids, and your spouse is still counting on you too to help with those kids. Like if like the common cold wipes you out, like I've seen some of these dudes like, oh, I just gotta sit here, I can't do anything. Come on, like seriously, like what are we doing? Like you got to dig a little deeper and find that extra little bit of strength because people are counting on you, such as your kids, and people to get stuff done. So um that's my opinion. That may not be popular either. Some guys like, well, I really was sick. I'm sure you were, but like, I just feel like I don't know. Can I explain why they're big babies? I don't know. We are big babies. I don't know, but I feel fairly confident saying that I don't fall in that category. I'm gonna say it.
I don't think every guy does. Like
No,
I'm
no. I think there's a lot of dudes that don't,
right.
but here's the problem: the guys
Yeah.
that do, they're
Yeah.
huge babies. That's the
Huge.
problem. Like, ooh, like they sit there. It's like, I'm sorry. Do you have cancer? Oh, you don't. You have a cold. You have the sniffles.
Oh,
Come
trust.
on.
I like, yeah. So anyway, yeah. So I may not have the best experience with that, with seeing that, but that doesn't mean I think all men are babies. But I think the stereotype is funny. It's almost it's kind of falls in line if you were to flip it and say, well, why are all women emotional? And like,
Sure.
kind of that, like it's just a funny stereotype. And it's
Oh, it's 100% fun. And again, it's funny because sometimes it's true, you know?
sometimes it's true. Yeah.
Um, but yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's a great question. I wish I had a better answer. I wish I had a better answer for you. I would love to hear your stories, Kaylin,
I like
of
how
what
you
you've,
said that men should suck it up. That's great. Great advice.
what is that bad?
No, it's good. No.
I mean, it's just the truth. Like, and
Yeah.
it's like, it's like really, it's an adult thing. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, again, and I'm looking at this, I understand if you're single, if you don't have kids, if you're married with no kids, like the game's a little bit different. I get that. Like you don't have to necessarily, but like when you have kids, like I think it does change the game.
Yeah.
That you got to suck it up.
Yeah.
And plus, like here's the thing too. I have two little girls. I don't need them to see some soft dude who's like, oh, I'm so sick. Oh, I can't do anything. I can't do it. And
I
that's not
can't
meant to be
do
like,
it. You're like, I can't even pretend. I can't even do
no,
it.
because like, and again, whoever you may feel a certain way about this, but like I am like right now the example of what a guy, like the way I treat them, the way I speak to them, the way all that, like I'm an example for them right now. And
Yeah.
so, one day when, years and years and years and years down the road, when they're dating and all those types of things, like, you would hate for that their example of me to be this person that's just like that can't handle things
Yeah.
because they're sick or they can't handle adversity because what I mean, they're like, oh, that's just like dad, that guy's cool, like I can't do it. Like there has to be, and I know my wife feels the same way, like when she's trying to set an example for them too, where like these girls count on us, so we got to take care of them, but at the same time, like she wants to be an example too, where it's like not to the point where you're saying nothing's wrong, like I can handle anything, what I mean, but like, you
Yeah.
know we've talked about that a lot on this show too, like there's a point where you have to kind of toughen up, right?
Yeah.
Like life happens, you more than anybody, because of your story, not we don't need to get into it, but like, you've gone through a lot of stuff. You would know that like there's certain points in life where that you have to deal with stuff, right? And there's things that you're going through emotionally, psychologically, all of that. You have to deal with those things in a certain way. And then there's other times where you just have to get stuff done.
Yeah.
Life might suck, things might suck, but at the end of the day, you just have to get stuff done because either people are counting on you or it's the
Yeah.
best thing for you to just
Right.
keep moving forward. Like there's a balance between the two things. So that's what we've always been like. It's like, hey, we're not going to pretend like, hey, we're like we're super tough and nothing bothers us. We'll never do that with our kids. But
Yeah.
when it comes to the common cold,
Common cold.
come on,
Come on.
you're not dying. You know what I mean? You and I have talked before. It's like if we can get out and run when we're sick like that,
Hmm.
that's the best thing to do.
Yeah. You gotta keep moving.
Now I will say the last time I did that, I had a sore throat. I've never run with a sore throat. That was a problem. I got to the end, I'm like, I couldn't breathe. I'm like, that was stupid.
And it's super painful.
It was not fun. That was a dumb idea. So I don't recommend that. Then I
No.
did. Then I did come to the house like a baby. I'm like, Rachel, I can't talk. She's like, oh, thank God he can't talk anymore. This is perfect.
There you go. So you were a baby.
I was like crying, like, oh. I had her bring me into the house. I just felt like at the entryway of the door, I'm like, I can't make it any further.
She carried you. She lifted you up, carried you in.
With one arm like a log,
Yep.
she just threw me down. She's like, get better, you baby.
Get better, you baby.
She just threw some aspirin at me. Yeah. So, anyways,
Yeah.
sorry, Caitlin. That was probably more than you wanted
Oh
to hear.
no,
It's like
she
that was
loved
supposed to be a funny question. I apologize.
it. It's fine. She's very happy that I chose all of those, I'm sure. To
And
read.
she's more bummed that you didn't choose the other ones that she included.
That I was like, I don't know. I don't know about those, Caitlin.
As much fun as they would be, the answers would be limited.
She just gave me a plethora, like a rainbow myriad of like choices. So I just picked those ones.
There we go.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay.
Nice.
Well, we've been talking for a long time.
That was quite a talk.
Yep.
Yeah.
Was it good? I don't know, but it was fun. So
Most of it was me updating everybody on my stuff. So
yeah, which is perfect. Deb had a great spring break. She got a lot of love at a comedy show she went to. She still loves mermaids. I made fun of someone with one leg, and that's pretty much it. We answered some questions. That sums it up.
Yep. Jordan
There we
still
go.
wears a towel over his chest. It's fine.
He's probably wearing it right now as he's listening to this. So, all right, Deb, where can they follow us?
You guys can follow us on all platforms except for, okay, so hang on, hold on. I'm going to get this right because I'm trying to make it shorter and easier for me.
As you guys know, this is episode 125 of the Connectable podcast.
Twitter
Deb has done this for most of them.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to do it like this. Twitter at Connectable Pod. And then you got Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok, Connectable Podcast. Boom.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Are we sure that was different than how you normally do it?
I don't know. Who knows?
But I do appreciate the fact that you paused, took some time to get it right. Thank you.
Collect myself. Yes. I do this all the time in front of my high school kids when I'm teaching. I mess up, I stop. I'm like, let me redo this. And I just start all over. It's fine.
All right. Well, now you guys know where to find us. Okay. And if you could leave us a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, we would appreciate it. And if you could subscribe to our YouTube channel, that would be awesome as well. We're climbing up in the numbers. We are definitely climbing up in the numbers, which is fun. Nice. So we get some more YouTube comments once in a while, which is fun. There's one guy, I put a clip of me talking about communication, and this guy commented, he's like, he's the only one talking. It's not really communicating. Like, yeah, you're probably right, man.
One of my other ex-lovers. Sorry.
Oh, really? Can I say something about your ex-lovers? They don't have many followers, which is somewhat offensive to me. But what can you do? You break too many hearts. It's like the trail of broken hearts lead to YouTube comments. Thanks, Deb.
Retaliation.
Yeah, at my expense. All right, guys. We will see you next week. See y'all. Thanks for watching the show. If you enjoyed that episode, make sure you like it, share it, and hit the subscribe button to get a new episode every week. We'll see you next time on the Connectable Podcast.